Welcome to the NC Spin After Spin. Additional comments from our panelists just available on our website. I want to ask each of you, what do you wish you had said on last week's show but didn't? Chris Fitzsimon, I'll start with you.
Well, we talked about the House budget and we all gave it a ranking. And a couple weeks ago, I talked about the what I thought was a terrible, secretive sort of Senate process to put the budget together. The House did a little better job, but we still have a fundamental problem. If your legislator who represents you in Raleigh wants to take money from one department in state government, amend the budget and take it from a department, give it to another department, raise a tax, don't cut a tax as much and give it to somebody else, the rules that govern the budget process make that virtually impossible. In the committee, it's always ruled out of order in the committee. We had a lot of amendments ruled out of order on the House floor. We had it on the Senate floor. So basically, your legislator, unless he or she's in the majority or a chair of a committee, has virtually no power to represent you in the budget process. I think we got to figure out a different way to debate the budget and give rank and file members more power.
That wasn't the case when you were Speaker of the House, Joe Mavrick. I remember that session very well. What do you wish you'd have said on last week's show?
Well, I talked about 9,000 students dropping out last year from our public schools. Well, there's another 9,000 number out there that's equally as disturbing. 9,000 of our students who test very well don't get put in classes that challenge them to their maximum. So on both ends of this spectrum, we are having kids drop out of school because they don't like the way school is being run for them. And clearly, educators know that we're moving toward individual education efforts. Yeah. And on the other side, we know that we have kids who are really bright and they're being just going stagnant in the classroom because they can't get challenging courses, and educators have to do something about that.
And the News and Observer series on that indicated that many of these kids aren't getting placed in some of these higher advanced placement courses because of their socioeconomic background.
So think about this, 9,000 dropouts, 9,000 who aren't being academically challenged. That's 18,000 kids. That's bigger than more than half the towns and cities of this state.
Out of a million, what is it, 500,000 public school students?
Yeah, we got to do better.
Howard Lee, tell us what you wish you'd have said on last week's show.
Well, I certainly want to expand a little in the educational arena. I heard last week we talked about the number of students who are dropping out. But, you know, we are still trying to run our schools like we did 50 years ago. And one of the great problems I see in our educational system today is that we have reduced leadership, principals specifically, to being middle managers and not innovative educational leaders. We need to put power back at the school level, give principals the support to make decisions about teachers as well as course curriculum and content, and allow these principals to engage with parents and communities and schools. And I think the problem we're facing with the dropout that mentioned by Joe and others could be dealt with in a very significant way.
On a smaller local level.
On a smaller local level.
John Hood, what do you wish you'd have said on last week's show?
Well, I agree with all that. And in fact, I want to brag a little bit more about my friend Frank Tate, who's the new head of Army Aviation. The Army was the right answer for him. He was someone who needed that direction and got it at West Point. And two things that have gotten, over the years, I've gotten valuable information from Frank about. One of them is just how proud most of the soldiers that serve with him have been of their work in Iraq, in Afghanistan, even in situations where there might be a political disagreement back home. They're very proud of their work, but they're also frustrated because if you're going to ask the Army to do a kind of a task, you're going to have to provide the resources necessary to keep that task up. And the debate in Washington, we talk about the state budget a lot, but the debate in Washington about the federal budget and what our priorities are is theoretical to many people, but it is absolutely life and death to General Tate and his soldiers. They need the resources if they're going to be asked to fight a years-long war against terrorism.
Good point. Well, thanks for watching the After Spin. We'll have more video all during the week on ncspin.com.